Hello, my name is Natalie. I created the bullet when I was in a dark place. It is a philosophical podcast that talks about human integrity and freedom. Coming from a dark place, I am not asking why the world is as it is, so as to make sense of it. I find the society we live in very questionable. I do not like how the modern Western worldview is considered synonymous with objective truth. So when I ask why the world is as it is, I am asking so as to undermine the foundations of a world that, in my opinion, needs to be unsettled and rethought. This is the second season of The Bullet, with the topic Bad Meditations. In this season, each episode will consist of 2 parts. The first part being a more artsy, bad meditation, and the second part being a short note on whatever topic was touched on in the meditation, so as to give it more of a context and realness. Now, without further ado, let's start. Welcome to this meditation on meaningless sensations. Lie down, give into the need of your tired, limp body. Can you feel your body? Are you sure? Breathe in, close your eyes, breathe out, and sink into the ground. This ground that you only perceive to be other than you by pure illusion. There is no difference between you and the ground. You're both matter. It is by pure randomness that the particles that make up what you call you organize differently than the particles of what you call ground. Randomness. Universally speaking, you might just as well fall apart and become the ground you think you're not. Or this ground might just grow into something that you would call you. No one would care. Subjectively speaking, yes, maybe someone would care, like your mother. But your mother is ultimately just like you. Nothing but matter. No different to the ground you're lying on. The ground you came from, the ground you'll turn into, the ground. Your mother. Breathe in. Let go of the vain delusion that you are better, more vital, other than the ground. Breathe out and become the ground. Become your mother. Metaphorically speaking, of course, I don't actually want you to become your mother. What do you feel? Do you feel stupid? Because you care so much about things that don't matter? Things that don't matter when thinking about the meaning of life? Things that matter even less when thinking about the meaninglessness of life. Meaninglessness isn't a bad thing. Doesn't mean that you can't love, or that you won't attach meaning to whatever you please, that you won't feel like the center of the universe, but at times also incredibly worthless. Even though actually meaningless, both is not necessarily untrue. Meaninglessness. Breathe in. Feel the empowerment that comes with the thought of being the center of the universe. Feel the despair that comes with the thought of being worthless. Breathe out and be grateful for your stupidity. Sorry if I come across a bit harsh, but passive-aggressive lately. I think I have some suppressed anger, maybe. Breathe. Yeah, keep breathing. You know, it's just kinda difficult for me. I don't know, to keep going, you know? You know what I mean? Breathe, yes. Breathe. Breathe in on a count of 4 and breathe out on a count of 5. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4. And out. 2, 3, 4, 5. In. 2, 3, 4. And out. 2, 3, 4, 5. And again in. 2, 3, 4. You know, this whole meaninglessness thing, it gets to me. I mean, I always thought that I had understood what it's about, but now I realize, wow. Yeah, it's finally sinking in, like, really deep. And I feel, yeah, I feel the meaninglessness, you know? I mean, that's also kind of good, but, what? Oh, fuck, yeah, 2, 3, 4, 5, very good. You can now go back to breathing in your natural pattern. Sorry, I try and hold back the personal comments. This time is for you, and right, this is time for you. Take another deep breath into this you, and exhale, almost as if this you could escape its carnal imprisonment. Don't you wish you could escape it sometimes, if only for a second, when you feel like nothing makes sense and you don't know what's real, but you have so many confusing feelings about it, or when you see something and know it's real, it has to be real, right? But you just don't seem to feel anything. Like, hello? Why am I not feeling anything? Like, at all? Yeah, don't you wish then that you could run away and just stop this pain and confusion, this weird numbness? But don't you at the same time also wonder whether this tendency of yours of wanting to run is just the thing that makes you feel so confused and detached? Like, maybe if I was more grounded, actually more in touch with my body and the things and people around me, maybe then I'd feel better? But at the same time, life is not just about feeling good or better. Yes, but that's not what I mean, though, you say to yourself. I don't necessarily have to feel good or better. What I'm trying to say is I want to be better at feeling. What do you mean by that? You ask yourself. Well, I'm just fucking tired of not knowing why I feel what I feel, of not knowing what it even is that I feel. And worst of all, I'm so fucking tired of constantly being overwhelmed, of being in so much emotional stress that I just black out and detach. I'm not even asking to be fine. I would just like to not dissociate from time to time. You say to yourself. Breathe. 2, 3, 4. And out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What are you scared of? I don't know. Do you really not know? Yeah, I told you, I don't know. I feel like we do actually know. What? How? I'm not sure. It's just a feeling I have when I look at you, when you look at us. Yeah, I see it every time I see you in the mirror. Okay. So, what do you see? It's hard to tell. I feel like you're avoiding me. Well, maybe I'm avoiding you because I don't like to be looked at like that. Like what? Like you hate me. I don't hate you. Well, then you've probably never seen yourself look at yourself in the mirror. I just want to make sure everything's fine. I want to check on you and understand the problem. I'm just concerned, I care. Why are you concerned? I'm fine. I'm fucking fine. And it doesn't feel like you care. It just feels like you can't wait to see me fail. Wow. Breathe. The truth is, I'm pretty good at meaninglessness. I see it, I feel it everywhere. It's everywhere. It's just that most of the time I try and run away from it. I try and deflect. I try and create meaning or get a sense of meaning everywhere I go. And it's not joyful, it's not a deliberate, happy act of creation. I'm addicted to meaning in that way. I waste time and energy on little lousy tricks that keep me excited enough to not fall into the bottomless pit of a meaninglessness that is so hard to bear because it ridicules my suffering. The sacredness of a lifestyle of suffering I chose because I thought that it would make people love me. Because I thought that suffering would make me happy. Haha. And when I look into the mirror, what do I see? I don't see the face of someone who's happy. I don't see love. It doesn't work that way. All I see is suffering. And when the realization kicks in, when I see that my suffering has only ever created more suffering and will never do anything else but to hurt me and potentially even others, this is when I detach. When I get ejected from my life, from that story I had told myself that is simply not true. And I drown again in this state I know just too well. This is when I truly feel, when I become meaninglessness. And yes, it's an interesting experience, but it doesn't exactly feel sublime when it happens like that. Yeah, I definitely have some suppressed anger. Please keep breathing. Please. Feel the ground. It doesn't matter whether you feel other than the ground, or whether you feel that you are the ground, or that the ground is you. It genuinely doesn't matter. Just feel. This is actually nice, no? Or comforting. That regardless of who or what I consider myself to be, regardless of who or what this ground is for me, regardless of whether we are the same or different, I can feel right now the sensation of lying on the ground. It's nice that I can really feel any sensation. Sensation. Beyond all meaning, beyond all our hopes that these sacrifices we make may be valuable, beyond all the stories we tell ourselves about our lives, about the world, about whatever, beyond all of that there is sensation, there is feeling. And in this there is no judgment, no reasoning, no purpose. In its nature it is truly and in the most beautiful way meaningless. It doesn't lead anywhere. It follows no specific rule. If you can, try and feel this and breathe. meaninglessness, to think about the absence of meaning, can be scary. And I know you probably hold pain similar to mine, that probably makes you hold on to certain meanings just as urgently as I do. And there's really nothing wrong with that. Choosing an idea, creating a meaning, and attaching it to things and people can be the most beautiful and sacred act in and of itself. It's an expression of perspective. It's you maneuvering through life, leaving a mark, connecting with your surrounding in a way that says, this is my stance. It is only when you cannot deliberately choose the meaning you attach to things, or when you are addicted to certain meanings, that meaning becomes painful. And it is just then when the thought of meaninglessness becomes the most scary. You have suffered and sacrificed so much already. You live in a structure, a system that would collapse in its entirety if something or someone were to take that meaning away. But it is also just then when to experience meaninglessness, even though painful, can be exactly what you need in order to escape that structure's restrictive force, to be set free. It is to remember potential. It is to remember that no thing and no one in this life is condemned to be one certain way, and that one certain way only. That no thing and no one is doomed to hold only one specific meaning. It is to remember change. Feel the ground and breathe. And remember, whenever you feel the ground underneath you, that everything and everyone is actually free. Free of whatever meaning that could be a detriment. Free of whatever definition that seeks to put them in a fixed position. Remember that everything and everyone holds infinite potential. I genuinely hope that you are not currently facing the more scary side of meaninglessness in your life. If you do, however, I wish that you can open yourself up to the possibility of change and to the replenishing quality of potential, one that can be found everywhere and is accessible to everyone. Thank you for listening. This week's tarot card is the Tower. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast and would like to support it, please check out my Patreon page. That is patreon.com/thebulletbynatalievent. There you can find all information you might be interested in. And also feel free to leave me a comment or any personal thoughts you might have. They're all appreciated. I hope that the struggles you might be facing right now will turn into a bullet that will touch what needs to be touched, shatter what needs to be reassembled afresh, and implant the seed of change where freedom is needed. And I hope that you'll have a good week.